Check out these cool fair trade bracelets. These are made from recycled rubber and they're so fun and colorful, but you just know that I have to add some beads to these. So I got together some different novelty beads and came up with 2 different ways to add them. And you could use this for any technique that has a hollow tube for a bangle bracelet. So this one comes like this, already attached. And I'm just using wire cutters to cut the ends apart. Now this is where it was originally attached, so I'm kind of taking care of this part where it's doubled in the center. If you were doing this with any type of hollow tubing, then of course you wouldn't need to cut it apart. But I also like this technique for sizing the bangle because you're using some stretchy cord in here, and that makes your bracelet, can make it fit a little bit better. So the first thing that you need to do is string your stretchy cord through the tubing. So we'll just pass it all the way through, and then I'll show you how to add the beads. Now, this is a fun way to bring some different symbols into your jewelry as well. You know, we've been talking about symbol and meaning. You could choose some beads that are meaningful to you. And you could choose your favorite color or different kind of design motif. You basically want to pull your ends even here through the tubing. So I'm using 0.8 stretch cord in clear. Now it comes in different colors, so you could match the color to the piece that you're making. And what I'd like to do next is take 4mm beads that have a little bit of a large hole. And the reason we want to have a little bit of a large hole with this is because when we tie the knot, we'll be able to tuck the knot into one of the beads. And that's a nice way, anytime you're using stretch cord, if you can tuck your knot into one of the beads, then it gives it some extra durability and makes it last longer. So you can see I have my beads strung onto the cord here. Now I'm just going to tie the knot. And there are 2 different types of knots that you can use. I prefer to just do your basic square knot. So I have left over right and then right over left. And you pass this through. Now if you're doing a surgeon's knot, you will just bring this through twice. So you'll pass it through again. So there are a couple of different ways that you can finish it. And you can pull it tight. Now the tricky thing about tying cord like this is that it's always so slippery, right? So what you can do is pull your 2 ends, but then also pull on the bracelet itself. So anytime you're tying your cording, make sure that you pull all the 4 pieces tight. Okay, and this is my favorite diameter of the cording because of the bead holes. So always choose the bead hole size with your cording that goes together. This is 0.8. Now, to glue this, what you'll do is use some jeweler's cement. And I put it on a piece of paper here because I want to cover my work surface. Very often you'll have a little bit of an extra drop. It does have a precision tip so that you can glue right onto your knot. This one I've already knotted here and tucked it inside the bead so you can see that it's tucked inside. And people are always afraid to cut this cording, right? So you just want to make sure that this is all the way dry and then use your wire cutters or a very sharp pair of scissors. And I always just pull the ends away a little bit and then trim as close as you can. And then you can tuck that into the bracelet itself or into that small bead. You can see your ends are completely covered. I like the way that this looks completely finished. You can't see any of the ends. Now another idea for adding beads to a bangle of any kind is to just string them onto a head pin. So I have a decorative head pin here that has a ball and star on the end, and I'm just going to add my beads onto the head pin. And of course you could use any kind of pattern with this, and then bring those all onto your pin and use round nose, or you can use mandrel pliers. And this type of plier has 2 cylinders at the tips here, and that way you can make perfectly formed circles. So you just bend a 90-degree angle above your beads and bring this tail around, and then you get a perfect circle there at the top that you can slide onto your bracelet. So depending on what size bracelet you're using, you can decide what size mandrel to use. So make sure you slip this on before you wrap it shut. And this is fastening this right onto the bracelet here. So I'll hold this with my chain nose pliers, and then I'm just going to wrap it around with my fingers. You could of course use another pair of pliers to coil it around, and everybody has a different type of coiling technique, but that's the one that I've been using a lot lately. So you'll press your ends in with your chain nose pliers. So 2 really simple ways of adding beads to bangle bracelets. Take a look at these. Here you'll see a few of the different design motifs that I chose. There are so many different beads you can use. I mean, take a look at these colors behind me. So many different colors and shapes to choose from, and you could definitely choose meaningful symbols for your jewelry.